Hello and welcome to Endurance, your weekly spiritual workout. I'm Nathan. This week we are looking at the idea of humour, specifically healthy humour. What does healthy humour look like? What sort of humour is not insulting or rude or unpleasant? And after all, laughter is good for the soul, as they say. But how do we have a healthy humour that does not offend other people? That's really important. That's what Stephen's going to explore momentarily, comparing different types of humour and what sort of humour we should have. So, hope you enjoy this episode.
Those tough patches in life will either make or break you, so if you're still standing, smile. You got this. Hashtag speak truth, hashtag make or break.
So this is another Go Deeper with me, Stephen, where we go deeper into the subject of endurance. And today it's all about healthy humour. So let's begin. If I look up the word humour or laugh in the Bible, each, on the YouVersion app, each reference doesn't seem to be especially funny. It's either people laughing at other people or mocking people. It tends to have a rather negative connotation to it. But there is a time for laughter, it does say in Ecclesiastes, and there are a couple of occasions where people are kind of taking the mickey. But it does give the impression that laughter isn't a good thing. That is not the case. God's first miracle on earth was turning water into wine. God isn't against us having fun or enjoying ourselves. But there is a very serious tone to the Bible, which is kind of interesting to note as we look at the idea of humor. But if you look up on Google, there are loads of benefits to laughter. It is definitely beneficial for us. And God does have a sense of humor. After all, He did make the planet. It's that in the Bible, there isn't much in the way of humor. It's important to note as we go on. But we do have two examples, both from the Old Testament, actually. The first one is from Elijah, and he is with the Israelites who have kind of turned away from God and they're turned to worshipping Baal, Baal. And as they're doing that, he comes along and says, "We need to worship God." So they have this big kind of like contest on this mountaintop, and all the Baal worshippers are asking their God to pour down fire, and Elijah says, "Down fire," and God burns up this. Anyway, about noontime, Elijah began mocking them. "You'll have to shout louder," he scoffed, "for surely he is a god. Perhaps he is daydreaming or has gone to the loo. Or maybe he's away on a trip or is asleep and needs to be awakened." There we have the prophet Elijah making a joke, really. And then we have Elisha. He left Jericho and went up to Bethel. As he was walking along the road, a group of boys from the town began mocking and making fun of him. Elisha turned around and looked at them, and he cursed them in the name of the Lord. Then 2 bears came out of the woods and mauled 42 of them. Now, I'm no theologian, there's a lot of tough stuff in there, but the main point is that these boys were mocking a prophet and it didn't go so well for them. So there is a clear warning in the Bible against mocking people. It is bad to mock. I think it's something we all fall foul of on a regular basis. I'm sure I'm always taking the mickey out of Nathan, and he's always taking the mickey out of me. But generally speaking, that's not so bad because we know each other. But when we mock people outside of the family, people we don't really know, that's not such a good thing. Perhaps we mock our country, prime minister, or whatnot. Mocking is bad, and clearly see it in this passage. But there's another thing about laughter. Proverbs 26:18-19. Like a madman who throws flaming darts and deadly arrows, so is the person who deceives his neighbor and says, "I was only joking." That's another bad form of humor, unhealthy humor. The idea of someone deceiving a neighbor and then saying, "I was only joking." We see it a lot, actually. It's not good, it's not helpful, and it's not especially funny, really. Other examples of unhealthy humor, perhaps sarcasm. I think it's a bit dodgy, bordering on lying, but can be quite funny when someone's sarcastic at the right moment, as long as you know that they're sarcastic. Some people take it literally, it goes wrong. It's a tough one, this subject of humor, because is it right, is it wrong? There's no clear thing in the Bible that says sarcasm is bad, but it does say that lying is wrong. So it's dodgy, to say the least. I think I ought to touch on humor in adversity. Sometimes people have strong black humor. Perhaps people who are in emergencies might make those sort of jokes that perhaps the rest of us fully understand. But in adversity, a lot of people use humor to help them cope with difficult situations. And it is valuable and it helps keep sane. Sometimes you might not get other people's sense of humor, but it helps them cope. Standing both ways. You might make jokes that offend people. It's a chewy one, to say the least. We just need to avoid unnecessarily mocking people or being unnecessarily rude, offensive, but also do enjoy yourselves, do have a good laugh. Definitely a chewy one. We'll discuss it more, me and Nathan.
Let's pray. Andy's going to come on and show us how to pray. Excellent. What have you got there?
It's my world's atlas,
Okay.
so I can pray for the world.
Okay.
You see, pray's good.
Right. Okay. You're going to show us how to do that then?
Yeah. So I've got my atlas, and if you go to the letter A, I'm going to start here. So
Yeah.
please God, please bless our Ben Ra and our Shun and our Borg.
What did you like about the story?
Bob
You like Bob?
and the stick.
The
We like sticks.
You like the stick?
We like sticks a lot. I do.
Okay. Well, we'll try and make sure there's some more stories with sticks in,
Thank
Dave,
you.
especially for you.
Right, so excellent talk as usual, Stephen.
Thank you.
Very enlightening on the subject of humour, and I thought there were some very interesting scriptures that you read out.
But what's funny?
Well, you are usually funny. Just to
Thank
watch.
you.
Yeah, you should.
Isn't
take it
that
as a
mocking?
compliment. No. The compliment.
Right. You were saying?
Man, I just look at you and I feel so much better about myself and the day in general. Got that amazing gift. Anyway, so we'll start with these questions, shall we?
Yes, let's.
So first of all, do you think God wants us to laugh?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I think God has made us with a sense of humour and with a desire to laugh. We want to watch something funny or have a good laugh. We want it. I reckon there's something of a desire that God has placed in us. But more importantly, God has created us with a sense of humour. We wouldn't get jokes if God hadn't made us with that sense of humour.
And I often think that God seems to have a bit of a sense of humour in his
Yeah.
timing.
As I said, he made the platypus.
Yeah?
Those are funny to look at, aren't they? Yeah.
Okay, so I was wondering about that account with the bears. Seems to me that Elisha's reaction was a trifle extreme. Could you explain that?
No. Well, prophet's
Prerogative.
prerogative. He was a prophet of God and they were making fun of him. They were out of line. So,
Yeah.
and there are consequences when we do wrong things, and this is a prime example of exactly that. Didn't live tell the
Joke.
yeah. It's a chewy passage, wouldn't you say? I've cried.
Chewy. So, I suppose we need to apply wisdom in our use of humour, don't we?
Yeah, definitely. There is the perfect timing when it's funny, and bad timing when it's rude. You got to be careful. You got to use wisdom. Some people might not get certain styles of humor. So, for example, I mentioned black humor. How some people won't get the joke, especially if it's wrongly timed. But like police, paramedics, fire service, military, they will use black humor to help them cope with difficult situations. but they
Yeah.
might not want to use that humour in front of someone who's just lost that loved one.
Yeah.
They'll have to use it elsewhere.
Carefully.
There's the timing for it, isn't there? Yes.
Yeah. We need to be sensitive to others when we're making jokes. And we need to be careful that we don't make a joke at a time that's inappropriate.
Like a funeral.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, since this is an episode about humour, I think it's only right that I should ask you a joke.
Go for it.
So, what did Adam say when he first saw Eve?
I know this one. Whoa, man.
Yep. Why called her woman?
Hilarious.
I know there are so many of those jokes about the Bible. Some are rather more cheesy than others. But let's face it, at the end of the day, humour is a really great way to make us feel better, to lift the mood, to help us work through difficult times. It's very therapeutic.
Relieve stress and whatnot.
Exactly. So at the right time and in the right place, humour is a really good and I think a very godly thing.
Definitely.
So I hope you learned something more about humour and how to have a healthy humour in your everyday life. See you next week.
There are many ways to keep in touch with the Berry Bunch. Visit our website and sign up to the Berry Bites newsletter so that you can be notified of all our videos, posts, exciting news and seasonal events.
Subscribe to our Vimeo and YouTube channels where we post brand new homegrown video resources every week.
Join us on Dingdash, a fabulous place that connects people from all around the world. It's social media as it should be. Come join the rebellion.
Like us on Facebook, where we hang out and post extra things to encourage and inspire you. We're on Twitter and Tumblr too. You can also follow us on Instagram, where we share extra photos from the world of the Berry Bunch.
If you've enjoyed any of our posts or videos, share it with a friend and encourage them too. And if you want to encourage us, then like, comment and share on what we make. To help support the ministry we freely provide, check us out on Patreon where you can support us financially as you feel led.